Sorry, I was on the mute. Huh? Sorry. So let us chant the shloka again. Sarvendriya gunabhasam
Sarvendriya gunabhasam
Sarvendriya vivarjitam
Sarvendriya vivarjitam
Asaktam sarvabhuschaiva
Asaktam sarvabhuchaiva
Nirgunam gunabhoktrucha.
Nirgunam gunabhoktucha
Okay, please chant.
Sarvendriya gunabhasam Sarvendriya vivarjitam Asaktam sarvabhuchaiva Nirgunam gunabhoktucha.
Okay, so sleep translation and purport. The super soul is the original source of all senses, and yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is maintainer of all living entities. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature. Purport. The Supreme Lord, although the source of all senses of the living entities, does not have material senses like they have. Actually, the individual soul has spiritual senses, but in conditioned life, they are covered with material elements. Therefore, the sense activities are exhibited through matter. The Supreme Lord's senses are not so covered. His senses are transcendental and are therefore nirguna. Guna means material modes, but his senses are without material covering. It should be understood that his senses are not exactly like ours. Although he is the source of all sensory activities, he has his transcendental senses which are uncontaminated. This is very nicely explained in Svetaswatar Upanishad 3.19 in the verse Apani Pado Javano Grahita. The Supreme Personality of God has no hands which are materially contaminated, but he has his hands and accepts whatever sacrifice is offered to him. That is the distinction between conditioned soul and the super soul. He has no material eyes. He has eyes, otherwise, how could he see? He sees everything, past, present, and future. He lives within heart of the living being, and he knows what we have done in the past, what we are doing now, and what is awaiting for us in the future. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. He knows everything, but no one knows him. It is said that Supreme Lord has no legs like us, but he can travel throughout the space because of his spiritual leg. In other words, the Lord is not impersonal. He has his eyes, legs, hands, everything else. And because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, we also have these things. But his hands, legs, eyes, senses are not contaminated by material nature. Bhagavad Gita also confirms that when the Lord appears, he appears as he is by his internal potency. He is not contaminated by material energy because he is the Lord of material energy. In the Vedic literature, we find that his whole embodiment is spiritual. He has his eternal form called Satchidananda Vigraha. He is full of all opulence. He is the proprietor of all wealth and knower of all energy. He is the most intelligent and full of knowledge. These are some of the symptoms of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the maintainer of all living entities and the witness of all activity. As far as we can understand from Vedic literature, Supreme Lord is always transcendental. Although we do not see his head, face, hands, or legs, he has them. And when we are elevated to transcendental situation, we can see the Lord's form. Due to materially contaminated senses, we cannot see his form. Therefore, the impersonalists who are still materially affected cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this verse and the last verse, it's a great paradox. Right? Last verse says he has his hands, legs, eyes, head everywhere. And this verse says he don't have. He is the source and he is without senses. That means he don't have hands and legs and eyes and head. So that becomes completely opposite. Is opposite to what is said in the last verse. But Srila Prabhupada makes it clear in the first line itself that God does not have anything material like our. Material means like how to understand is like we have eyes, ears, everything, and that we use for when we use it for our sense gratification, that becomes material. When we use for devotional service, that is spiritual. So we can use our eyes, ears, hands, everything for devotional activities. But when we use in the consciousness to satisfy our desires, that is material. So Supreme Lord or the Super Soul, who is pervading everywhere, is not using anything for his own or material desires, because so God, he does not have any desires, material desires, right? So that's why this exactly opposite shlokas. So his senses are not material like our. Mm. So, and also he although he maintains, last verse says he is the maintainer of everyone. This verse also says Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. He don't have senses, and Sarva Bhuta. He is maintainer of everyone, but still he is asaktam. He is without attachment. He is not attached to that. So this is actually the God's potency, yoga aishwaryam. The 9.4 and fifth verse also is the same thing. He maintains everyone, or he exists everywhere, but he is not in that. Those two shlokas are like that, and there Krishna says that that is my yoga aishwaryam, that is my mystic, not mystic, transcendental power or energy, through which though I am into everything, I am not there. So the example given there is of the sky and air. So the air is always in the sky. So the air cannot go beyond the sky, but still sky has a separate existence, and the sky is everywhere. But still, the sky and air, they are different. So this is the potency of the Lord, how he can be he can be without anything, but still everywhere. How he maintains everybody, but still is not attached to anything material. How he has senses which are all spiritual, uh, and still he maintains the material senses, our material senses. That's the energy of the Lord. So an example is like, if there is a company director or CEO who has many companies in different countries. So ultimately, he is the owner of that company, but he is physically not present in all the companies at all times. But through his energies are like his managers and his uh, country heads. All these are his energies. Through them, he maintains it, and through them, he can get whatever work is required to be done. So a simple company manager or company owner in this world has so much power. So the Supreme Lord, who is the owner of all the, not only this universe, but all the universe, he has so many energies through which all these activities are done. And through his energies, he is present everywhere, but still he is not there. And still he maintains everyone through his energies. So he is detached from everyone. So actually, this is the Achintya Veda Ved Tattva. So the God is everywhere, but still he is different. Still he is always existing differently in the spiritual world. So everything is done through his energies, and those energies are also spiritual energies. So when Lord Krishna comes, he comes through his spiritual energy, not the material energy. That's why Krishna's appearance in this world itself is a mystery for many people. They don't understand. And so when Krishna comes in a human form, then normal people will not accept it. This is all explained in the 9th chapter. So in this chapter is the replica or more depth of the same information, but in the form of Geya, that he is the ultimate object which should be known, and we should also understand his potencies, how he maintains, but still he is unattached to everything. So this verse actually slowly takes the conversation where it will be, because nirguna means it's beyond the material world. No, nirguna means there is no effect of goodness, passion, or ignorance on the senses of Lord. Our senses are controlled by gunas. When we are angry, we shout. When we want to hit somebody, desire is there, we hit by hand. So our senses are controlled by our desires. But Krishna's and desires coming from the gunas. So, but Krishna's super soul senses are nirguna. They are not controlled by the gunas. So that is beyond the material world. So here the conversation is going towards the spiritual, completely spiritual identity, and which is pervading everywhere. So it's not of individual soul, because the individual soul is conditioned in the body. So he's identifying with the body, and he is not also in all the bodies. So now Krishna will is slowly taking the description to the prove the ultimate Geya, which is the Supreme Lord or the Super Soul. So we'll see that tomorrow more clearly, when he will differentiate between the existence, how the Super Soul exists. So we'll see that tomorrow. Hare Krishna. So any comments or any points anybody want to add? Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.